Hi guys, it's Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I am going to be reading an essay I did in my English class my senior year of high school, and it's all about health. And what we basically had to do for this essay was he gave us a section to do, we had a certain topic that we could do, and there's different articles inside each topic folder, and we had to research I think 2 or 3 more that weren't in that thing and write an essay about it. So my topic was health, so I just did some research I read through all the articles that he had. I found some more articles and I made this essay, and this essay was turned in on April 5th of last year, 2017. So let's get started. So here, the title is Health, and it says, did you know that 46 million Americans were uninsured in 2005? And I didn't capitalize Americans, so that's good. I don't know if I was supposed to put uninsured, or I don't even know what I was supposed to put, if that's the right word. There are many things in the world that are slowly killing people, including products, one's habitat, but the majority of vaccines in existence can help kill the disease. Fast food wrappers, the place where someone lives, and different vaccines play a huge part in today's health society. Most products, such as wrappers at fast food restaurants, contain chemicals in them, and those chemicals get into the food and potentially harm someone. There was a test of 400 wrappers to see what they had any chemicals in them. Okay, my English writing is not good. Half of the wrappers contain fluorine. Being exposed to PFAS has many symptoms, including developmental delays in children and increased cancer risks. It's difficult to know how much will actually migrate because it depends on temperature, the type of food, how long the food is in contact with the paper, and what specific PFAS you're talking about, said Laurel Shader. Laurel is saying that in America today, it is really hard to determine people will have what in the world due to all the problems that Americans face today. PFOA is a long chain of PFAS that is linked to heart disease and many other things throughout the United States. I think we all already have the same reasons to reduce how much fast food we consume, and this may be another one, says Laurel. Due to the amount of chemicals that scientists are seeing in fast food products, the less people eat out, the less chance they have of getting any kind of disease. Getting diseases can be saved by eating fresh food and preparing meals home, not using paper tableware, and not eating microwavable popcorn. Diseases and different health issues can come into a child's life through the area that they live in. Poverty plays a huge factor in how people, especially children, have many different health issues. Children who live in more advanced households have a greater relative increase to getting diseases than those who live in poverty. Children who live in poverty have a less chance of getting physical disabilities, but have a higher chance of getting a mental disability. 28% of a greater relative increase of children getting diseases are those who live in advanced households than the people who live in poverty. Disabilities are much higher in children who live in poverty. People who live in poverty have less access to healthcare systems. A family who lives in poverty may not be able to get a doctor's attention in the same way as families who live in better homes. Due to the amount of dirty and other problems with poverty places, there is higher chance of getting diseases if you live around these areas, even if those are the only things that you can afford. Diseases were finally under control after programs were developed between 1910 and 1920. Between those two paragraphs, I don't know what I was doing, but I read this and was really, really confused. So yeah. People who get diseases or have health issues do not always have to live in poverty. In the United States alone, there have been 1,228 Zika-infected pregnancies. 54 babies were born with birth defects. 7 pregnancies have resulted in miscarriages, stillbirths, or abortions. Fossey says evidence is still accumulating that Zika can cause a variety of health problems in adults as well, including Guillain-Barré and heart-related issues. Even though most disabilities are more common in children, more adults are getting them. President Trump's budget called for $500 million, and he is spending it to increase access to treatment and recovery services. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is making a pledge to get a $500 million grant to help states with their public health challenges. The majority of vaccines in existence can help kill the disease. There are 40 antibiotics in clinical development in the U.S. today. Fewer than half of these antibiotics are able to help treat and cure diseases and infections. Anthony Fauci, a director at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says, if there is a good vaccine efficacy signal and there is an outbreak in South America, the FDA could make the vaccine and the quality of the data. 2,400 men and non-pregnant women were tested to see whether the vaccine can protect them in places where viruses are at. A person's cells can read the genes and make Zika proteins, which use a defense with antibiotics and T cells. Advances in treatment help with many different diseases, including diabetes, but have not led to a decrease in their popularity. Drug companies have focused on gram-positive bacteria that tends to colonize the skin. Only 1 in 5 drugs that reach the initial phase of testing will be approved. Only a small amount of people can get these infections, but they meet the requirements that are needed to go to clinical trials. Antibiotics resistance vaccines kill about 23,000 Americans each year. Experts say drug-resistant infections double or triple the risk of death. PFAS can remain in the body for years. They accumulate in landfills, are found in food wrappers, and they affect drinking water. People can reduce the chance of getting a disease by eating healthy food, make homemade meals, avoid using paper products, and not eating microwavable popcorn. Laurel Shader, PhD, says we can be exposed to these chemicals through many different pathways, and all those exposures can add up. Even if we can't avoid all of them, even every little bit can help. Laurel is saying that the more diseases that people are getting, the more the different exposures are adding up. People can avoid getting diseases if they take the proper precautions and steps before doing something. There are many ways to prevent oneself from getting a disease. Physical activity is good for the heart. People who exercise really well are less likely to die from cardiac disease. Exercise improves blood pressure, pulse, and cholesterol. Telomeres are caps on the end of our chromosomes, and they prevent any damage to our DNA. Dr. Ludlow created an experiment on healthy female mice to test how their cells acted after the mice ran on a treadmill. He allowed the mice to run at a comfortable pace for 30 minutes, and after they were done running, they were put back into their cages for several days. The researchers took tissue samples from both the running mice and the mice that were not running. Dr. Ludlow states, these findings indicate that a single moderate workout beneficially alters telomere biology in the heart, so it may be necessary to stick with an exercise routine for some time in order to realize the cellular benefits for the heart. Workouts are very beneficial for people wanting to make sure the body is really healthy and can block off diseases easier. Americans over the age of 65 are eligible for some coverage by the federal Medicare program. When it comes to paying for health care of elders, there are only a few options. 88% with health insurance said that their coverage was good or excellent. 57% was happy with its cost. There are many things in the world that are slowly killing people, including products, one's habitat, but the majority of the vaccines in existence can help kill the disease. Fast food wrappers, the place where someone lives, and different vaccines play a huge part in our health today. If I had to reflect on that essay now, I would say that I could do so much better. There were a bunch of spelling errors. There are some words that were supposed to be one, but I added a letter and they were something else. So I could have proofread this essay a little more and done a little bit more to make sure that the essay flowed, because I just don't think this essay flowed very well, and there's some spots where it jumped around a lot. So yeah, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video.